President Bola Tinubu says the newly constructed interchange bridge in the FCT is a glimpse into the future of what his administration is planning to provide for Nigerians towards ensuring economic prosperity. The president stated this in a message during the inauguration of the interchange bridge of the Aturo Road N20 by the Wole Soyinka Way, connecting the Outer Northern Expressway. Onoze Yakubu has the details.
The newly constructed interchange bridge of the Aturo Road N20 is one of the inherited projects completed by the present administration. It was awarded in 2020.
The completion of this project will ensure a seamless interface and connectivity of both vehicular and pedestrian traffic around the adjoining districts of Jahi, of Katampe and Katampe Extension, as well as Kadu, Mabushi, and other districts.
This interchange bridge will definitely improve the transportation network in the FCT.
Leadership, whether a government, leadership, whether a party, leadership, in any form, is very, very important.
President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, described the newly constructed interchange as a testament to his administration resolve for a more connected and prosperous capital city, which will ensure efficient movement of people, goods, and services. He applauds the Esewiki-led administration for bringing the project to fruition after several years.
While our rapid urbanization is a sign of growth, it has also presented challenges, particularly in ensuring smooth and efficient movement of people, goods, and services. This interchange is a crucial answer to those challenges designed to alleviate traffic congestion, enhance safety, and significantly improve the daily lives of residents and commuters in the Federal Capital Territory.
The contracting firm also got a pat on its back for delivering on schedule and in line with the contractual agreements. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigeria is currently witnessing the silent but resolute transformation under the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this during the Nigeria-Brazil Business Forum, tagged Roots to Revenue, the Nigeria-Brazil Corridor, on day 3 of the dialogue in Abuja. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jabrila has all the details.
The renewed strategic alliance with Brazil is grounded in intent and rich in the potential for mutual growth.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
This is coming just as Nigeria and Brazil revised their strategic alliance to advance economic development in key sectors. Vice President Kashim Shettima acknowledged Brazil's journey, especially the strides in agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and industrial development, relating such strides to the ongoing transformational projects in Nigeria.
We are encouraged by Brazil's interest in skill development and human capital. This aligns perfectly with one of our most pressing national goals. Africa, and indeed Nigeria, is a useful country with an average age of 17. And we must ensure that our young people are prepared for the demands of tomorrow. We welcome the opportunity for institutional partnerships that promote training, research, and exchange of knowledge in sectors where Brazil has built strength and in areas where Nigeria is gaining ground. What gives weight to this dialogue is that it is grounded in clarity. Both our governments understand what is at stake. We know that the reforms underway in Nigeria will require patience, but we are confident that they are the right steps.
Brazilian Vice President reaffirms commitment to strengthening bilateral relations with Nigeria through long-term cooperation, shared innovation, and mutual economic growth.
Under the leadership of President Lula, Brazil is committed to building bridges with its historic partners and opening new avenues of cooperation. With Nigeria, we have a unique opportunity to build a strategic South-South Atlantic axis, which is not only commercial, but also productive, technological, and human.
The meeting also discussed the Green Imperative Initiative, a $1.1 billion program to transfer Brazilian agricultural technology to Nigeria as a model of transformative South-South cooperation. Members of the Brazilian business delegation expressed optimism about Nigeria's investment landscape and long-term investment possibilities. In Abuja, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Similarly, wife of the Vice President, Nana Shatima, says there is a cultural connection between Nigeria and Brazil, as the two nations are bonded by shared values and traditions, despite the distance between them. She made a remark while receiving Maria Lucia Ackman, the second lady of Brazil, who is in Nigeria on an official visit with her husband, Vice President Geraldo Ackman. And now, a screening exercise has been conducted by Senate Committee on Banks, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions at the National Assembly. This follows a request by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu urging Senate to consider and confirm Thompson Oludare Sande for appointment as the Managing Director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation and Kabru Sabo Katata for the position of Executive Director in the same corporation. Correspondent Amina Saidu reports.
Leading other senators in the screening exercise, Chairman Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, engaged the nominees on a range of issues, including their professional background, vision for the NDIC, and strategies to strengthen the stability and efficiency of Nigeria's financial system.
I joined the Central Bank of Nigeria in 1989 as a senior supervisor, growing through the ranks until I left voluntarily in 2021 as a director. For most part of my career in Central Bank, I was in Banking Supervision Department for about 25-26 years, during which period I had the opportunity to contribute to the development of several frameworks and policies that up to today shape the banking industry in Nigeria.
I'm presently the Director of Research, Policy and International Relations in the NDIC. My job entails, as stated, taking care of all the such activities, scanning economic issues both in Nigeria and abroad, seeing what is important or relevant to the NDIC. I'm in charge of the annual report of the NDIC from inception through the processes and its compilation.
What we're doing here is possibly, after this session, is to agree as to the recommendations we'll be making. The final approval is still the prerogative of the Senate.
The screening report is expected to be submitted to the Senate for consideration and possible confirmation in line with legislative procedures. From the National Assembly, Amina Saidu, NTA News.
What does the future of Africa look like? At the 32nd annual meetings of the African Export-Import Bank in Abuja, that question has been answered, not just in speeches, but in strategy, investment and partnerships. Musa Abubakar takes you inside a landmark gathering that's turning vision into velocity.
Every great journey needs a starting point. And for Africa's next chapter of economic transformation, that point may well be right here in Abuja. This is the 32nd Afrexim Bank annual meeting, where the continent's future is not just being discussed, it's being designed.
We can leverage Afrexim Bank's experience to chart a path for the future. Africa is at the crossroad, at a point where we need to be intentional about our aspirations.
More than 6,000 delegates, dozens of African and Caribbean countries, presidents, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and innovators all gathered to ask and answer one powerful question. How do we trade more with ourselves and on our own terms?
From its founding, this bank has taken on a mission far greater than commerce. It has carried the burden of opportunity, building systems that empower African peoples and economies to chart their own course.
We must go beyond resilience to renewal. That means mobilizing blended finance to crowd in private capital for infrastructure and green transition.
Let us commit to building the resilient institutions our people need, our economies require, and our continent deserves.
And it's not just peaches. This is where deals are getting signed, from fintech to freight, from green energy to agriculture. If it moves Africa forward, it's on the table. The launch of the African Trade Report 2025 offered a glimpse into a continent defying odds, with intra-African trade up, regional value chains emerging, and the spirit of cooperation rising.
The message is clear. Africa is not waiting for the future. It's building it. One policy, one partnership, and one performance at a time. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Well said, Musa Abubakar. Now toward the news. Global economies are grappling with a range of challenges, from shrinking public revenues to rising unsustainable debt levels. In response, the Chartered Institute of Treasury Management is rethinking, reforming and reinforcing financial and treasury systems in Nigeria through a mandatory specialized training, induction and recertification program for its members. Maria Adu Zachary has all the details.
There is nothing wrong in borrowing.
Financial mismanagement and revenue leakages often stem from the absence of specialized training for treasury professionals. This gap led to the establishment of the Chartered Institute of Treasury Management, CITM, as the central institution responsible for promoting accountability, transparency, and fiscal discipline in public and private treasury operations.
Nigeria, and indeed Africa, needs a new breed of treasury professionals, men and women who are technically grounded, ethically driven, and development-oriented.
This time around, we are talking about sustainability. The resources are no longer there. It is all about managing resources, screening such resources effectively to make sure that government actions and inactions are being channeled as it is towards the right direction.
There's been an improvement in some of our external credit ratings, which are all signs that the economy is getting healthier, and that's at a macro level.
With the theme Treasury Management in the Era of Economic Uncertainty, discussions at the training focused on debt management strategies, harnessing domestic revenue for financial stability, building resilient treasury systems, and aligning environmental, social, and governance principles with treasury practices. Maria Adu Zachary, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu will on Thursday sign into law 4 groundbreaking tax reform bills that will transform Nigeria's fiscal and revenue framework. The 4 bills, the Nigeria Tax Bill, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill were passed by the National Assembly after extensive consultations with various interest groups and stakeholders. When the new tax laws become operational, they are expected to significantly transform tax administration in the country, leading to increased revenue generation, improved business environment, and a boost in domestic and foreign investments. The historic presidential assent to the bills at the presidential villa, Abuja, will be witnessed by the Senate President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Senate Majority Leader, House Majority Leader, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, and his House counterpart. Others are the Chairman of the Governors Forum, the Chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Attorney General of the Federation. Now time to have more business, and Benny Adams is our guide. Benny.
Thank you, Henry. And talking business, Nigeria's flourishing creative industry, the vibrant tech ecosystem, the agricultural sector, in addition to the vast mineral wealth, are all ready for global partnerships as Nigeria is open for business. This is the stance of Nigeria at the ongoing Osaka Expo holding in Japan. The event featured a blend of cultures in attire, music and cuisines as Ambassador Nura Abarimi, Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in the presence of the global community, showcased harmony of both cultures while telling a story of transformation and commitment of a country building a sustainable and inclusive future. Ambassador Rimi told of Nigeria's success story in the implementation of a range of investment policies and incentives, including pioneer status, tax holidays and green bonds. He says they are not merely policies but a clear invitation to the world to partner Nigeria by investing in the country's potential and shared prosperity.
We are committed to deepening our trade, investment and our diplomatic ties, particularly with Japan and other forward-looking nations. At the same time, we seek to foster mutually beneficial partnerships with countries that have embraced this opportunity for economic collaboration and shared prosperity.
Nigeria 連邦共和国のナショナルデーの公式式典
And now, the Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority, that is NEBZA, the one-stop shop committee on the sale of crude in Naira and the Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals Free Zone Enterprises, have agreed to ensure that the presidential directive on crashing domestic prices of petroleum products to enhance economic growth is achieved. This was as the members of the committee paid a courtesy visit on NEBZA in Abuja. The one-stop shop process is aimed at streamlining the sale of crude oil to local refineries by coordinating services from various regulatory, security and other relevant agencies for smooth implementation. To this end, NEBZA says they are prepared to cooperate and collaborate with the committee to achieve the mandate. The committee's coordinator, Maureen Ogbonna, believes that it is just a matter of time for the country to move away from billing domestic crude sale in dollar. For the Dangote Refinery, they say the successful implementation of the program will sure lead to achieving energy security and growing the economy. And looking at the markets at the end of transaction today at this time, the session ended with 861.6 million shares traded in 22,896 deals, corresponding to a market value of 26.176 billion naira. This shows 14% improvement in volume, 12% improvement in turnover, and 3% improvement in deals, while the current market capitalization is 76.5 trillion naira. On the aggregate, we see 129 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 63 gainers and 17 losers. On the top losers, we have UPL lost just about 6 naira, RT Briscoe 2 naira 30 kobo, Multiverse 8 naira 75 kobo. And on the top trades at this moment is Fidelity Bank as Zenith Bank, which shows that the financial sector is doing very, very well at this time, having traded 82.9 million, valued at 1.6 billion naira, and Caverton 64.1 million, valued at 319.6 million naira. And on the third spot is Zenith Bank, having traded 60.6 million at 3.4 billion naira. Well, this is it on business at this time. It's time to take a break. Do stay with us.
Many thanks for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu is again reassuring Nigerians that at the ripe of the various transformative programs of his government and those of some state governments, they would have no regret supporting his administration. Now, the president gave the assurance as he addressed a gathering of stakeholders on his one-day official visit to Nasarawa State, where he inaugurated some legacy projects executed by Governor Abdullahi Sule. State House correspondent Musbal Dan Wahab was there.
The reception for President Bola Tinubu on arrival at the Lafayette Airport was indicative of what to come on the working visit. State governors from across the regions were on ground in solidarity with Governor Abdullahi Sule. And the residents of Lafayette too were lively to make the presidential visit a homecoming. And certainly, the host governor convincingly won the heart of the president with series of projects lined up for inauguration. They include a flyover, interchange and underpass, the dualized 5-kilometer Shendam Road in Lafia, and the new Nasarawa State Government Secretariat with a 1 megawatt independent power supply. President Tinubu also inaugurated vehicles for MDAs and security agencies as well as agricultural equipment.
For the security and maintenance of peace in our land and particularly in Nasarawa State, to the glory of God Almighty. Amen.
All these and others listed by Governor Sule were executed in the 6 years of his government, but he attributed the success of the reforms carried out by President Tinubu, increasing the revenue for subnationals to work with.
Your renewed home agenda and the economic reforms, especially regarding the withdrawal of fuel subsidy and foreign exchange, are most of the things that we have seen, and today you have seen the results of that. I have invited most of my friends who needed to say, who always say, the money for this subsidy, where is it going? I say, come to Nasarawa, you will see where the money is going. And today, we have shown them where the money is going.
President Tinubu acknowledged the support and perseverance of Nigerians through the initial stage of his reforms, and again, he says the economic darkest days are over.
But the hope is here. From this moment on, you will have no regrets. I could see hard work coming from A.A. Sule, determined to use the resources available to him for the benefit, stability, and prosperity of Nasarawa State. Sule is doing well because Ebola Tinubu is doing well too.
He promises collaboration with the state government to further develop the potentials of the state.
We work with you to ensure values are added to your mineral deposits. But don't, because you are a solid mineral state, forget your agriculture. We are going to make agri profitable, sexier, and interesting for all of you, the youths, the women, and we will empower you through small-scale financing, loan, and opportunity for prosperity.
President Tinubu also launched the Renewed Hope Social Impact Program for women, children, and families, a program of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. He paid a courtesy call on Emir of Lafia and Chairman Nasarawa State Council of Chiefs, Justice Sidi Mohammed, retired. The president is back in Abuja. Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
And away from Nasarawa State, let's head to the National Assembly, where Benue and Plateau killings, the Senate has condemned the recent massacre of innocent lives in Yawata community of Benin State. The lawmakers also condemned the killing of travelers from Zaria in Magu, Plateau State, on their way to a wedding in Kwanpan. National Assembly correspondent Lamiede reports that the lawmakers, while debating the security breaches, expressed deep concern and urged Nigerians to revive the age-long tradition of being a brother's keeper.
Condemning the strongest terms the massacre in Yelewata and all acts of mass violence and killings against innocent Nigerians across the country.
The Yelewata incidents and that of Mangun, senators recalled, happened within the same week, throwing a dark cloak of grief across Nigeria.
This unprecedented, tragic genocidal massacre at Yelewata was executed in a systematic manner.
The tragic killing of the innocent travelers in Plateau State is not an isolated incident, but part of the disturbing and recurring pattern of unchecked violence over the years.
The government is really doing its best to make sure that those who committed this heinous crime are discovered.
The Senate, in another motion, acknowledged that Nigerian armed forces, despite being overwhelmed by security breaches, have displayed commendable bravery in confronting terrorists.
As a result of the determination and the fighting spirit of the troops of Operation Hiding Kai, they were not only able to repel the attack on the headquarters of Abadam local government, Malampoteri, but they were able to reclaim communities.
Senate has passed the financial estimates of the Nigeria Customs Service for 2025.
With the introduction of the newly launched Unified Customs Information System, provides a platform for full automation of all customs procedures, which is expected to enhance revenue collection efficiency.
Also approved by the Senate as recommended by the ad hoc committee oversighting emergency rule in River State are the 1.48 trillion naira 2025 budget, presidential appointees into the State Independent Electoral Commission, and 3 other agencies of the state.
The invocation of emergency rule in River State is not an arbitrary action, but one rooted firmly in the provision of Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. As you are aware, these provisions legitimately empower both the Presidency and the National Assembly to act in the interest of national stability.
Meanwhile, the number of APC lawmakers in the Red Chamber has hit 69, as Senator Neda Imaswe, representing Edo's House, defected from the Labour Party. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Still in the National Assembly, but looking at the Green Chamber now, the House of Representatives is moving to address insecurity in Benin State by setting up an ad hoc committee to investigate persistent bandit attacks. In tandem with the Senate, the House has also approved an extension of implementation of the capital components of the 2024 budget to 31st December this year. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikben brings us today's resolutions.
Basket of the nation.
Condemning the June 14 armed attacks on Yelwata community in Guma, local government area of Benin State, lawmakers insist on getting to the root of the matter to forestall a recurrence in any part of the country.
The House urges the federal government and security agencies to intensify efforts to restore peace and security in Guma local government area and to protect vulnerable communities from further attacks.
Mr. Speaker, this issue has also taken international dimension. As you know, it was mentioned by the Pope himself when these killings took place in Yelwata, where about 200 people have been killed.
This motion is referred to an ad hoc committee to be constituted in due course.
Lawmakers also sought relief for victims of gully erosion in Kano State and severe flooding in Bauchi State.
Concerned that if urgent action is not taken to address the flooding in Das local government and Tafa Balewa local government areas, the scale of the disaster has plunged families into crisis, exposing residents to diseases, outbreak, hunger, poverty, and long-term displacement.
2 bills to regulate online gaming across the country as well as amend the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Act were passed in plenary.
To repeal the National Lottery Act No. 7 of 2005 and the National Lottery Amendment Act No. 6 of 2017, and to enact the Central Gaming Bill to regulate the operation and business of all forms of online and remote gaming.
At the Committee on Supply, lawmakers approved a second extension of the 2024 budget to December this year, as well as the 2025 Nigeria Customs Service budget.
They tried to increase the salary, but unfortunately because they could not get funding, the salary still remains. But they are hoping this time they'll be able to get this 4% and be able to increase their salary by 50%.
22 bills were introduced at first reading during Wednesday's plenary, including the Uguta Seaport Establishment Bill 2025, From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly now, the integration of technology at all levels is crucial for the much-needed transformation and innovation in the public service. Speakers, led by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, emphasized this during the opening plenary of the maiden edition of the International Civil Service Conference, themed Rejuvenate, Innovate and Accelerate. Haman Jabani reports.
The conference emerged from a shared understanding that across the world, and particularly in Africa, the civil servant stand at a critical crossroad, and the systems inherited were designed for a different era, now called to confront 21st century realities: rapid urbanization, digital disruption, climate shocks, global pandemic, increasingly complex citizen expectation, and a powerful generational demand for equity, inclusion, and climate justice.
We must rejuvenate to renew the spirit, skills and structure of the civil service. This means attracting young talent, building leadership pipelines, empowering women and marginalized groups, and rekindling public trust through values-based service.
In today's rapidly changing world, the civil servant must transform into a dynamic platform for creative, agile, and resilient governance. This conference calls on participants to rethink leadership not as a routine function, but a forward-looking force.
If we challenge our civil servants, if we trust them to deliver, I'm sure they will rise to the challenge. And the politicians need to know that. They need to know that civil servants have the experience, they have the training, they have the education, they have the breadth.
Nigeria is ready. We just need to accept that and embrace the renewable digital transformation that is ongoing now.
The conference is a declaration that business as usual is no longer acceptable, and it's a signal that all are ready to rejuvenate, to innovate, and to accelerate. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Nigeria's democracy places high expectations on legislators beyond their primary roles of lawmaking and oversight. This is the submission of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, at a public lecture in Kefi, where he reassures the public that the 10th National Assembly is committed to meeting the expectations of constituents. Aliyu Tijani reports.
It's the 5th public lecture series of the National State University Kefi, titled Legislating Under Pressure, The Realities of Lawmaking in Nigeria. The lecture is coming few weeks after the 10th National Assembly marked a 2-year anniversary, and the guest speaker, who is also currently the Speaker, House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, gives account of legislative processes in Nigeria and the burden on legislators by their constituents. The Speaker says Nigerian legislators are faced with the challenge of balancing legislative duties with pressure of meeting constituents' expectations, as he recommends the need to strengthen legislative support services and increase public participation in committee processes in order for the constituents to be on the same page with their lawmakers.
There is a need for ongoing civic education to clarify the role of lawmakers and to see the developmental responsibilities of local governments through continuous evolution, thereby reducing pressure on federal legislators.
The lecture provides platform to bridge the gap between academia and policy, shaping academic excellence and national discourse to strengthen democratic governance in the country.
The challenges of lawmaking in Nigeria are multifaceted, and they require great skill, political acumen, patriotism, dedication, and courage to navigate the complexities of constituent demands, public perception, and media influence, especially now that the conventional media outlets operate side by side with the social media.
Recommendations at the public lecture are expected to enhance legislative efficiency and build public trust. From Kefi, Aliyu Tijani, NTA News.
Let's look at political matters now, as INEC has released names of 110 associations seeking to be registered as political parties. INEC Chairman Professor Muhammad Yakubu disclosed this at a consultative meeting with media executives ahead of the Anambra governorship election. Mia Ogidi reports.
2027 elections. The battle is in the ballot. And to get the symbol of a new political party, not simple. And 110 associations seeking a symbol from INEC. Warm handshake. But these are not the men and women seeking new political parties, but they are the ones questioning the answers if they are not comfortable with the answers. The Penn family, in a consultative meeting with INEC ahead of the FCT area council elections in 2026 and the Anambra governorship election November 8, 2025.
Campaign in public by political parties commenced exactly 2 weeks ago. I urge you to monitor these activities.
And it is our hope and prayer as journalists will work together towards bringing sanity into the system.
Back to the issue of registration of new political parties. Accusations of not registering new parties, not new to the INEC chief.
The same unfounded accusation was made under similar circumstances in 2013, that the Commission was not keen on the proposed merger of political parties because, according to them, INEC had merged with the ruling party at the time. We wish to reassure Nigerians that under the current situation, we will continue to be guided by law and act with fairness to all associations seeking registration as political parties. We will treat all requests fairly, irrespective of the status of their promoters, be they ordinary or prominent citizens.
With this clarification by the INEC chairman on the controversy in some quarters surrounding the registration of new political parties or otherwise ahead of the 2027 general election has been laid to rest. But two major issues are still much alive. That is, the continuous voter registration exercise. When will that exercise resume? And the conduct of by-election, especially in the National Assembly. But the INEC chairman assures that these issues will be also addressed, and a date for that will be announced latest in the next 24 hours. From the INEC headquarters, Abuja, Mia Ogidi, NTA News.
Many thanks, Mia Ogidi. Indeed, the battle is in the ballot. And of course, joining us now to talk more on the political parties seeking registration, we have the legal advisor, IPAC, Agu Okwukwe. Many thanks for joining us.
Agu Okwukwe Obed.
All right. Now, INEC deregistered about 74 political parties in 2020, and now over 110 political parties have indicated interest to be registered by INEC. What criteria must they meet before they are registered?
Well, thank you for having me in here, and thank you, Nigerians. It's very obvious that according to what the chairman of INEC just stated, that they will give fair playing ground to all political associations that aspires to register as political parties in Nigeria. And they are playing by the rules according to section 222 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, as well as section 75 to 76 downwards of the Extant Electoral Act 2022, provided for the guidelines and also the political parties' guidelines for registration of political parties. First and foremost, for an applicant to be registered as a political party, such an association, ab initio, should apply to INEC by a letter of intent. That letter of intent should be attached with the proposed logo of that association, the proposed symbol of that association. Then INEC will now look at, and definitely that would be 12 months before the general election. That is when the letter of intent should be sent to INEC. Thereafter, within 90 months, INEC should give a provisional approval to that association. And then in that association, by that provisional approval, it will state that the logo, which has been presented by that association, the symbol, and the acronym of that association is not being used by any other existing political party, as it were.
Now, looking at the number of political, associations seeking registration, how sure are you that these political parties, if registered, will not be deregistered along the line?
Well, it's not for anybody to say whether they'll be deregistered or not. There are also criteria, according to the Constitution, by Section 225, Sub A of the 4th alteration of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, procedures for the registration of political parties. So if an association was able or is able to be registered, and then after being registered as a political party, you go into the election and you're unable to meet the criteria for you to be sustained as a political party. It happened in 2020 when 74 political parties were deregistered just because they were unable to meet up with the requirements as stated in the Constitution. Section 225A of the Constitution provides that in a national election, general election, you should score up to 25% of the general votes that were cast in that election, or in a state election, you win the governorship. Not the governorship. Either you win a councillorship, you win a chairmanship, or you win a seat in the House of Assembly or in the National Assembly. So these are stated in the Constitution and abiding by the Constitution. If INEC gives you the opportunity to be registered as a political party and you could not meet up with this criteria, then definitely you have to go as a political party.
All right.
And that is the position of the law.
All right.
So INEC, as it is today, have the opportunity, even if the 110 political parties are registered today, after the general election, INEC can still review. They are the registrar of political parties. They have the authority to monitor and oversee the activities of political parties in Nigeria. So they can as well deregister when you do not meet up with the criteria.
All right. From what you're saying, does it look like in 2027 we're going to see another bulky ballot paper like we saw in 2021 when we had over 2019 rather? Do you see that playing out?
Well, that could play out if the 110 political associations, as they are today, are registered. But if they are not unable to meet up with the requirements for registration as political parties, definitely the ballot will still remain about 19 political parties that we have today.
All right. Many thanks, Agu Okukwe, legal advisor, IPAC. We wish the associations the very best. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Indre.
All right. By the way, thank God your name is not on the ballot paper, by the way.
My political party name is there.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. All right, let's look at more political stories as the opposition plays a crucial role in a democracy, serving as a vital check on the ruling party's power and ensuring accountability. Internal conflicts is, however, one of the challenges being faced by opposition parties, weakening the ability to present a united front against the ruling party. This is the situation facing the major opposition political party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the leadership of the party visited INEC, the election management body, where one of its major internal crises was resolved.
In a robust and constructive role, the opposition can help to strengthen democracy, promote accountability, and ensure that the government serves the interest of all citizens.
If you are in government and you are not even opposed, create opposition. You should be opposed.
An opposition party is like a government in waiting, with all of their structures, their policies,
on how they will run things better than the government in power.
As the country draws closer to another round of election, internal leadership crisis has been one factor tearing the PDP apart. Majorly is the controversy surrounding who occupies the party's national secretaryship office.
We've gone into litigation, I think, from the beginning of last year until when the Supreme Court, make a pronouncement of which INEC is the party.
In the last couple of months, we received letters from the party saying that one Mr. Ude Okoye was the secretary. Thereafter, the party changed its mind and said it was Senator Anyang. And the last letter from the party actually has no secretary at all. It was only signed by the chairman, which we responded to.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has reversed its earlier stance on Senator Samuel Anyanwu as National Secretary and suspended its planned National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for June 30, 2025. A decision leading to a proper NEC meeting is to be taken at an expanded National Caucus meeting slated for June 30, 2025 in place of the earlier proposed 100 NEC meeting. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Shehu Gabam, has dismissed reports of his suspension by a faction of the party's National Working Committee, NWC, addressing journalists from the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. Gabam says his presence at the Secretariat, the party's base, is an indication that he remains in charge of the leadership of the party. He refuted allegations by a faction of the NWC on gross financial misconduct, embezzlement and diversion of party's funds as the basis for his alleged suspension, describing these allegations as false.
That the national chairman of the party has been suspended. We have not even had the NWC meeting. I don't know where the meeting took place. After all, I am the chairman and chief executive and national leader of the party by virtue of our constitution. As such, I want to make it clear, I'm speaking from my office directly. Because of the tension, some of the NWC members couldn't make it to the office. The tension was so palpable. But to reassure everyone as a leader that can stand by everyone and defend this party, we will not be intimidated, we will not be coerced by any individual. We're aware of various allegations going around, money being spent. I'm happy to stand here confidently and tell the world there is no single ₦1 transaction between any coalition partners or friends to SDP, either to me personally or to the SDP account.
Let's pause here. There's more news shortly. Many thanks for remaining tuned. The evolving landscape of technology and digital platforms is undeniably transforming employment across Africa. Yet a critical concern persists: the marginalized group. And to address these barriers and forge pathways towards greater inclusion, Jobat, in collaboration with the Mastercard Foundation, convened a dedicated roundtable to explore how technology can bridge existing gaps and foster employment opportunities in marginalized contexts. Charles Alpha reports.
Digital innovations are expanding rapid opportunities across industries, but structural and systemic barriers continue to impede employment inclusion. About 72% of employers in the formal sector, a research by the Jobat and Mastercard Foundation, organizers solved the roundtable of the technology and employment inclusion in marginalized contexts, revealed are not making any conscious effort to hire inclusively, while nearly 9 in 10 do not recruit from marginalized groups. And this roundtable engagement by Jobat and Mastercard is geared towards creating inclusive opportunities where this community of people with special needs are not left behind.
We have all our courses available on WhatsApp,
It costs 200 MB in terms of data accessibility. It's voice notes, it's graphics, it's a lot user-friendly. So if we're developing technology for people within marginalized contexts, think about what's most accessible to them in terms of affordability, accessibility, and usage.
It is a call to action, a call for deeper collaboration, for innovative thinking, for inclusion.
This engagement aligns strongly with the Renew Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, and it reflects the spirit and letter of Section 29 of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act 2018.
60% of Nigerians don't use mobile internet at all. This is a clear-cut indication of two sides of a divide when it comes to technology adoption.
Now, access to digital should be made more inclusive for persons with disability.
Issues like making digital platform accessible are the things that Jobat Mastercard Foundation are now putting effort into achieving.
In January 2020, Jobat Nigeria partnered with the Mastercard Foundation Young Nigeria Work Strategy to equip young people with the skills and knowledge to access jobs, grow businesses, and expand economic opportunities. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, Sub-National Stakeholders Engagement Technical Session, a statewide town hall meeting has ended in Gombe. Emmanuel Akila reports that attendees at the meeting from the private and public sectors speak about the potential and enablers that make businesses to flourish in Gombe State.
The idea of having the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, go around states is to discuss the economic potentials and the challenges at the subnational level with a view to providing support for sustainable development of Nigeria's economy.
It's essentially to deepen our subnational reforms, to offer technical assistance to Gombe State on the SABA program, and also to get feedback from stakeholders.
Gombe State government is careful to formulate policies and programs to give favorable atmosphere for businesses to thrive.
What we are doing at the rice mill and the groundnut mill, the site where we have the small businesses in Gombe, government will continue to provide, infrastructure for them, provide soft loans, provide the required, incentives that will ensure that they continue to, to do well.
We have the Minister of Internal Security. Just 2 years ago, Gombe has been adjudged the most secure state in the country.
Right now, what we also want to offer investors is a 5-year break in respect of certain industries such as agriculture, tourism, hospitality, biotechnology, and research and development.
The private sector players speak of the business environment in Gombe State.
Whenever there is a program from the federal government, they always call upon us so that we can be a beneficiary.
Recall that Gombe State ranked first in the ease of doing business in Nigeria by PEBEC in 2021 and 2022. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
It will amount to making an understatement to say that climate change and global warming are seriously impacting negatively on the environment, with Benin State not left out of this devastation arising from extreme weather conditions to deforestation and food insecurity. The good news, however, is that the government is making efforts to change the phenomenon. Not with arms and ammunition, but sustainable initiatives aimed at restoring lost vegetation, arable land, and ensuring food security through climate-smart agriculture. Tina Turo will tell us more.
There is this beauty that comes with lush greenery, trees adorning the landscape, offering shelter from extreme weather and food for both humans and animals. When it comes to trees, their impact on livelihood is enormous, from economic viability to daily sustenance. Climate change and global warming, alongside unfavorable human activities like the indiscriminate felling of trees, have become a threat to human existence. In recognition of these visible threats to the land and people, the Borno State government is taking the bull by the horns through strategic initiatives aimed at rolling back these unfavorable climatic conditions, spearheaded by the Agency for the Great Green Wall, facilitating policies and programs towards mitigating mitigating deforestation and ensuring sustainable livelihoods through tree planting campaigns and capacity building on climate-smart agriculture. Maiduguri, the capital city of Borno State, is adorned by beautiful trees, courtesy of successive administrations and now consolidated by the Great Green Wall Agency.
Every house or environment that has numerous species of plants, you will see they have a microclimate. It will be different from the house that don't have any single tree or few trees. So tree plays a vital role in the environment.
Despite all these efforts, the straits are dire and challenges enormous.
People are vandalizing. In some places you will see people are even going with a sharp object and cut down the trees. Some they will just uproot the trees.
Residents of Maiduguri pledge their commitment to building a more resilient environment.
What we do as an association is that we educate our members against the dangers involved in cutting down life and economic trees.
Sai a gari inda ake gine-gine aka je aka sanar da mu ga itace an yanka.
We do not fell trees indiscriminately. We get the trees for charcoal when trees are being cut down to pave way for critical infrastructure.
Kuma muna daga cikin masu biyayya da gwamnati.
I know the importance of trees to the environment. I have planted over 500 trees in the last 1 year.
It is a win-win for government and people of Borno as the state goes green, using adaptive solutions to mitigate deforestation and climate change, providing jobs for those who water and nurture these trees, in addition to climate-smart agriculture initiative for sustainable livelihoods. In Maiduguri, Tina Turu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, recycling waste is an important way to reduce the amount of garbage produced, conserve natural resources and lower greenhouse gas emissions. Recently, some Nigerian children have started creatively turning waste into wealth. In this report, Elizabeth Omorie looks at how recycling is taking a new shape from the eye of a child.
Environmental pollution is a complex challenge that nations are grappling with. It is driven by a combination of natural and human factors. Pollution affects key elements of the environment: air, water, and land. In response to this issue, 11-year-old Almira is already thinking creatively and making a difference with the resources available. As part of her role in the Head Girl initiative at her school, she's leading a recycling campaign. Together with her peers, she's promoting the reuse of materials to create carrier bags, helping to reduce environmental waste.
I thought of the impact recycling will have on the planet and what we can do as children to help the planet become cleaner and a healthier environment for future generations. Before you buy something, you first need to think if you're going to use it, and once it's done being used, if it's like a single-use item and you can't use it again, you can decide to turn it into something new, which helps save money as well.
Experts at the forum emphasized that recycling plays a vital role in a broader strategy to combat climate change, which requires collective action and informed decision-making.
Plastic doesn't decompose, but gradually it degenerates, and that degeneration leads to what they call microplastic. You can't see it, but suddenly it's in the air, it's everywhere, and that's what causes harm. Lots of we hear of people getting sick, having what you call NASA.
Listening to you made me reflect on the empty bottles and cans I threw away, and the harmful impact it has on the environment.
I am very proud of her for a girl her age to come up with an initiative to talk about recycling in a world where kids are, most anyways, are all about getting new things. She's really big on recycling things and repurposing things.
Almira's efforts highlight the power of the youth to drive meaningful change. Her story is a testament to the potential of young people to become environmental leaders and contribute to building a more sustainable future. Elizabeth Omorie, NTA News.
Beautiful to see. Now we head to Jigawa State. It was a moment of pride, progress and praise in Hadejia as Governor Umar Namadi received a rousing welcome into the historic Emirates. From the city gates to the palace of the Emir, the atmosphere was filled with admiration and appreciation for a leader whose development strides continue to touch lives across Jigawa State. Muhammad Musa Askira tells us more.
Now, Umar Namadi's visit to Hadejia began on a colorful note with a grand reception at the Hadejia City Gate. The warmth of the people echoed through the streets, leading all the way to the palace of His Royal Highness, the Emir of Hadejia, Dr. Adamu Abubakar Maji, who showered royal blessings and presented befitting gifts in honor of the governor's developmental efforts. One of the key highlights of the visit was the commissioning of Damo, the talented junior secondary school, a state-of-the-art educational facility targeted at nurturing gifted students drawn from the state's 12 educationally disadvantaged local government areas. The governor also commissioned the Dala Primary Healthcare Center, a fully equipped modern facility poised to serve the healthcare needs of the Hadejia community. Governor Namadi later led APC stakeholders and government officials to the Hadejia Township Hall for a robust citizens engagement session. There, the governor highlighted key achievements of his administration in the area while listening to the development needs of the people, ensuring that their voices will be reflected in the 2026 budget plans.
What we are doing now, you can see that after we have given our scorecard, people will now give us their demand in writing. This demand we are collecting from the people is going to serve as an input to our 2020 subsequent year's budget.
From education to healthcare, infrastructure to inclusive governance, Governor Umar Namadi's touch continues to leave lasting impression as people of Hadejia pledge to reward its developmental impacts with solid support at the ballot in 2027. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu congratulates Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on attaining 60 years. President Tinubu commends the governor's steadfast commitment to Lagos State's growth and development, noting his alignment with the transformative master plan established during the president's tenure as governor from 1999 to 2007. Similarly, the First Lady applauds the governor's dedication to service, a quality which she notes has set him apart as an exemplary leader. In the meantime, the president extends good wishes to his Chief of Staff, Olufemi Gbajabiamila, on his birthday, underscoring Gbajabiamila's contributions to Nigeria's fledgling democracy and the legislature, where he spent much of his political career. President Tinubu notes that the celebrant's commitment to the development of Lagos State, particularly his Surulere constituency. Now time to pause. There's more news in a bit. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back. Death comes to all. But when a husband dies, the wife faces a different reality. Widows in Nigeria are speaking up, demanding action, seeking rights and calling for change. Ngozi Technical reports on widowhood in Nigeria, the impact, the response and the push for reform.
This was the family of Polycarp Deacon. 14 years ago, his death left a space that words could not fill. Since then, Rufina, his wife, has walked the road alone, raising and educating 3 children without support. Now a mother of 3 graduates, she speaks of the burden many widows carry, a burden often unseen, unheard, and unresolved.
When I lost my husband, I suffered a lot. I thought the world has ended, but I didn't know that I can be able to cope today.
I'm a widow now, 25 years, a widow. Well, my husband died, I have 9 children.
The way forward to change the face of widows is still the government to call us, let's sit down together. By that time, we'll be telling them what is happening to us, the areas we want them to come in.
As the world marks International Widows Day 2025, this year's theme focuses on empowerment. With insecurity and other factors increasing the number of widows, both government institutions and NGOs are being urged to implement measures that protect rights and improve welfare of widows.
If the woman loses hope, then the hope of the children are shattered. So my message to the widows is that there is hope. Don't give up.
And these associations are of immense concern to the National Council of Human Societies. And whenever we have livelihood, we have humanitarian gifts to distribute, we consider them first.
Widows call for direct access to support, not through intermediaries. For Rufina, the struggle continues. Her children remain unemployed despite completing their education. Rufina's story is just one among many. Behind the statistics are real lives. Women who continue to rebuild without recognition, without rest. Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
Another break beckons. Please stay with us.